The Coaches Show is brought to you by Highway 55 Burgers, Shakes, and Fries. The Professional Fence Company. Our name says it all. No job too big or too small. Nunboys.com. And GPS Photography and Video, GPSPhotoandVideo.com. Welcome back to the Coaches Show. And Coach, continuing your thought with the head trauma, it was a different, it was like the Stone Age when you and I played, compared to the types of helmets that they had. We had the bike helmet, where you pump that air up in that joker, and you come over there, and I said, well, the more air I got, the better off I feel. And
we got those when I was in college. I remember in high school when we went from the old suspension helmet to the internal pad system, and we got Rydell's. I believe it was my junior year. And shoot, man, I thought those things were Cadillacs.
Yeah.
And they were. Back in the '70s, that's what they were. But and we had the single snap chin strap, and face masks weren't as diversely.
We hit the single chin strap versus to the double, even like this one's got 3 on it.
Right. But helmet technology it's come so far, and when you look at the anti-concussion helmets, I know I bought one for Trey this year based off of what happened to him last year. They're so expensive, and
you talk about $180 helmet. Prior to I think the concussion one was like anywhere from $200 to $250.
No, they're closer to $800 to $1,000 now.
Wow.
But even those apparatus, they say that no helmet, can prevent a concussion, and it's the truth. It's not what they wear on their head. It's how they play and how they use their head in the game.
You still have the neck injuries.
Well, but the neck injuries have been minimized. I think everybody gets such a progressively teaching hitting and teaching tackling. People successfully minimize that by making sure tacklers had their heads up, were leading with their face mask, and but now with that being the case, that created the shift to more head injuries, because now there is more blunt force trauma to the head, and but like I said, it's a violent game, and if you want to eliminate the risk of concussion, you're not going to eliminate it completely, but certainly if you want to minimize it, then this piece of it needs to come out of the game completely.
The nature of the penalty, the nature of the law, the reading of the penalty, whether it's spearing or targeting, you believe that's right? It's dead on? Could they approve that anymore?
It's a judgment call, because targeting is targeting. If you look at it this way, because we had a couple instances this year. One of them was at Rocky Mount. It was an incident of targeting. KJ went down. When he went down, the guy was drawing a bead on him, and he missed him.
Right.
And and I talked to the official about it, and he said, "Yeah, but coach, you didn't make contact." I said, "That's not what the rule says.
Right.
The wording of the rule specifically denotes the intent of the player." I said, and it is undeniable what that player's intent was. His intent was to hit him as he was going down, and he missed him. He said, "Well, coach, since there was no contact, I can't call it." I said, "Then you're not enforcing the rule as it's written." And so, when you subjectivize rules, human judgment enters into it, and there's only been one perfect human, and he was crucified.
Yeah.
But now you're dependent upon the opinions of other people, and who knows what affects that.
And on defense, you teach your player to put his helmet through the ball, to cause that fumble, as was the case we saw on Friday night as well.
Until the new rules came out with regard to the head, for years, we coached our kids that their face mask is a weapon.
Exactly.
It's a weapon. Use your face mask. Lead with your face mask. Number one, it guarantees that their head is up, which means the curvature in the cervical spine is sound, which enhances the shock absorption and eliminates the risk of a neck break. But and I would tell them, that face mask is not there to protect your face. It's a weapon. If you're not going to use it, I'm going to take it off the helmet.
There you go. You hit what you see and see what you hit.
But now, we can't even do that. You can't lead with your face mask. They emphasize leading with the shoulder. Everything being a shoulder-based
The
hit.
head on the opposite side of the body.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
But, if you want to ensure that that's going to be the case, then take this off of all of them.
And then when you look at the way running backs run, they lower that helmet.
That's another thing. How is it that a linebacker can be penalized for leading with his head when a running back in a short yardage situation is going to slam that ball into the line with his head down?
Ramming it, right.
What he's doing is no different than what you're saying that guy trying to tackle him can't do. So it's a little, and I don't know if it's a liability perspective. I don't know if it's safety consciousness run amok. Nobody cares more about the kids' health and their well-being than I do, and I certainly don't want to. How many football games have you ever been to where you didn't see a kid go down with some kind of injury?
Right.
I had them. I've had 4 surgeries, knee surgeries because of injuries, and like I said, I'm fairly confident that I had concussions. I know.
Oh yeah, and you went back in, you got that Motrin or whatever, smelling salts.
They popped that ammonia, and I think back on it as a player. Heck, I wanted to play.
Yeah.
And I remember going back out there, and my head was killing me.
I didn't know what you did.
But I wanted to play.
Do you think they should have athletic trainers at the middle school level and even the pee-wees? Because this is where they're learning the fundamentals. And as you get that 9th grader next year, if he's been taught the wrong thing, you basically got to re-educate him and change his thought process.
Well, you always have to do that with some anyway, and regardless of what they've been taught, even kids that have been taught right. It's like I liken it a lot to deadlifting in the weight room. We don't do a great deal of deadlifting because a lot of times what kids will do, we do it, don't get me wrong, but it's highly controlled. The format's controlled, the weight's controlled, the technique is controlled. But if you let a kid, if kids get in there and testosterone gets flowing and they start pimp strutting around, wanting to see who can pull the most, then somebody's going to load 600 pounds on a bar and try to deadlift it. Well, the first time that happens, technique and form's out the window.
Yeah.
And that only enhances the likelihood that somebody's going to throw out a back, they're going to pull a muscle, they're going to, something's going to grab or explode or something, and we're not going to allow that to happen. It's no different for football. We're going to coach fundamentals, we're going to coach technique, we're going to coach proper form, we're going to do it religiously, we're going to do it mercilessly. And but it's like we've talked about being good on the range and then getting into a live fire situation.
Totally different. Moment of truth.
You have to make sure that you've trained to the extent that kids, when they find themselves in situations, they can fall back on their training instead of trying to rise up in an attempt to do something spectacular that causes them to sacrifice technique and form in a way that risks or jeopardizes their health.
And shout out to Miss Smith. I wish she would come on.
Oh gosh.
And I'm gonna definitely make sure she gets a copy of this because I want to hear her thoughts as well. But she is the exception to the rule.
No doubt.
And we're blessed to have her, and we're in a great situation there. But when you see all the other schools out there, you just scratch your head. How can 37% not have an athletic trainer at the high school level?
Well,
and I know everything's budget. We talked about that.
I think you got to tip your hat to our administration because Dr. Williamson and Mr. Edwards, they know how important it is. Strictly from a liability perspective.
Oh yes.
And Coach Schmidt, as well as several other trainers that I know, Zach McNeil down at Scotland and Mike Brown at Richmond, they do a great job. But Beth is conscientious. She cares about the kids. She's going to do everything that she can to get them back on the field as quickly as possible. The frustrating piece of it for her is the kids don't come to her like they should, and instead
try to hide that injury. Instead, go get therapy.
Well, they go home, and then next thing you know, Mama takes them to the doctor, and the doctor gives them a note that says no football for 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever. And when that happens, there's nothing Coach Schmidt can do. She can't treat them. She can treat them
but
and she can rehab them, but she She can't do any return to play protocols, and she can't do what she's trained to do. And she's the best. She works very, very hard to get our kids back on the field. I tip my hat to her, and I tip my hat to our administration, for hiring her and doing what they got to do to keep her on board, because she's, without a doubt, she's outstanding.
Yeah. Players of the week, Coach. Let's hit it real quick. Offense.
The offensive player of the week was the entire offensive line.
The Big Uglies.
When we met Sunday and talked about it as a staff, all of them graded out. All of them played by far their best game.
What they grade out as a group?
All 5.
Average.
I got that stuff written down.
Well, shout out to the Big Uglies.
Yeah, no
They
doubt.
are the offensive players of the week.
The highest grade out in that group was Jalen Fennell, so he will be the one.
Jalen Fennell. Okay.
He will be the one that represents them at the coin toss.
All right, good deal. And all of them will go out as captains this week, which is a great reward. Defense.
Defensive player of the week was James Galbraith.
James Galbraith, number 17. He wanted to tell me after the game, said, "Hey, Scotland's not that good." I think he really meant was they could have played better, or they're not that bad.
Scott was pretty good.
And special teams.
Special teams player of the week was KJ Thorpe.
KJ Thorpe.
Did a great
Shout
job
out to KJ
punting
Thorpe,
for us.
punting, and it rolled forever.
Yes, it did. He did a good job.
Yeah. Coach, we're going to leave it there. Congratulations on all the players of the week. We'll see you on Friday night kickoff at Purnell Sweat at 7:30. Tomorrow night JV game kickoff at 7, and of course the East Hope West Hope game at 4 o'clock. Coach, 5 o'clock? Okay, good. Thanks for joining me, Coach. As always, appreciate it. We'll see you next week right here at Highway 55, Burgers, Shakes, and Fries for the Coaches Show.